Brazil's economy is expanding very quickly. Its GDP, which is Latin America's biggest, may expand 7.3% this year. Consumer prices could rise more than 5%, and inflation will stay in check. But what happens when the country's president, Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva, leaves office? Let's get more now from Marcelo Salomon. He is the chief Brazil economist for Barclays Capital. He joins me now in the newsroom. Marcelo, welcome to the program. You say that neither of the two leading candidates will likely change economic policy for Brazil. Is there anything that differentiates the two? Who would be the better custodian of Lula's economic policy?
Hi, Scarlet. The idea is that both candidates will maintain the institutions that are prevailing in Brazil in the same place.
The status quo.
The status quo. But there are some nuances between them two. The incumbent candidate, Dilma Rousseff, is going to be probably maintaining all of President Lula's current policies, as well as a larger government stance, meaning that 2 or 3 years down the road, we could have a larger government, more taxation, and probably some less potential growth. The opposition candidate, José Serra, comes with a much milder view on larger government. So I think this is the big difference at this point in time.
Who does the market like better?
The market is not really paying enough attention on politics yet. Everybody was looking at the World Cup, and I think everything is going to become a lot more interesting as we get closer to August 17.
Let's talk about their stances on foreign direct investment, because last fall the government imposed a tax on foreign inflows that would affect foreign inflows. It wasn't clear whether it was going to be temporary or permanent. It's looking like it could be more permanent now. Is there going to be a change in this?
I think we have to differentiate flows. The flows that were taxed back in October were equity portfolio and fixed income portfolio flows, not FDI. FDI are exempt of this IOF tax. But the idea is every time we see a large appreciation of the Brazilian real, the government is going to move forward to start halting or try to halt this appreciation. In our view, they won't need to put any more taxation because I think the large appreciations of the real are already behind us now.
Okay, the real is the best performing currency against the dollar over the past 12 months, so the real's continued to hold steady.
It has, but compared to last October, it's probably at the same level or weaker than it was when the tax was implied.
Okay, let's talk about Petrobras as well, because that's another big overhang potentially for the market, for investors, for anyone looking at Brazil. What are you hearing about the secondary offering for the company, and how are elections affecting the timing of that decision?
From what we heard from the government and from Petrobras, the idea of a secondary offering should come before the election, should come close to September. This is the guideline that we heard from the company. Going forward, it's going to be a very important company for Brazil because we have all this pre-salt oil extraction business to be dealt with. And I think this is one of the key issues to understand from the next administration is how do you actually finance this? Who's going to be pushing most of the money? Is it going to be government? Is it going to be private? And how this balance between these two entities are going to be paving out.
And do either of the two leading candidates appear to have a grasp on that?
I haven't heard any details on this issue from either of them.
And are we expected to? I mean, is that something that investors will be pressing them on?
I think they will be asking, and I think that details are probably only going to be emerging on a pressure-based basis or something like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time. We've been speaking with Marcelo Salomon, the chief economist for Brazil for Barclays Capital, right here in New York.